Look at your family. Look at how you handle stress, how you argue, and how you love. You might think your personality is just a random collection of traits. It isn't. It is a biological strategy. For most of human history, the group you were born into was the only thing standing between you and death. Survival wasn't just about hunting or finding shelter. It was about how the family functioned as a unit. Every single member had to play a specific, unwritten role to keep the group alive. Today, you are still running the psychological software of your ancestors. Your birth order wasn't just a dynamic, it was your survival training. Welcome. Today, we are looking past the stereotypes. We are looking at the deep evolutionary advantages and the hidden costs of exactly when you were born. Let's find out what biology gave you. We begin with the rarest dynamic, twins. For early humans, wandering alone meant becoming prey. Twins were the only humans born with a guaranteed ally. From day one, they were never the weakest target. They were always a pair. This early bonding shapes the brain in ways the environment cannot undo. If you were a twin, you have spent your entire life reading another human being at point-blank range. You learned to disagree, recover, and compromise before you even understood what those words meant. This gives you an incredible advantage, high empathy, and an almost zero fear of social spaces. You walk into rooms with a quiet security because you have never truly been alone. The cost comes later. Who are you when someone else shares your face and your history? Finding a singular identity is your hardest battle, but when you do, you possess a depth of self-awareness most people never reach. If you were the firstborn, you were the test run. Consider this, the majority of the very first astronauts and Fortune 500 CEOs are firstborns. Why? Go back 50,000 years. Parents had to hunt and gather. They couldn't do that while watching the younger children, so the oldest child watched them. Nobody trained you. Nobody asked if you were ready. You simply absorbed responsibility because you were the oldest one standing. You received thousands of hours of undivided attention before anyone else arrived to split it. Then a sibling was born, and you instantly became a teacher. Having to explain the world to a younger sibling sharpens the mind. But this advantage carries a heavy weight. You learned to perform, to manage, and to lead before you learned how to rest. For you, asking for help feels like failing. Your task now is to realize that you don't always have to carry the sky. The only child stereotype is that they're spoiled or selfish. Decades of research prove this completely wrong. When a family places all their resources, time, and attention into one child, they are maximizing their evolutionary investment. Only children often develop larger vocabularies earlier and consistently score the highest in pure ambition. Because you did not have siblings to fight with daily, you learned conflict resolution later. But in exchange, you gained something incredibly rare, the ability to harness solitude. While others panic in silence, being alone restores you. You are built for deep, uninterrupted work. The hidden cost? When parents have only one child, they pour all their hopes and all their anxieties into them. This creates a relentless inner voice, a standard of perfection you feel you can never quite touch. Your greatest challenge is learning to be gentle with yourself. The middle child, often overlooked, rarely understood. Being stuck in the middle wasn't a curse, it was elite training. In early human tribes, groups would easily fracture and fall apart over disputes. To survive, the tribe needed someone who wasn't the rigid leader and wasn't the dependent baby. They needed someone who could see every angle, someone who could talk to both sides. Evolutionary researchers call you the coalition keeper. You are the glue. Because family attention felt limited, you looked outward. You built deep, loyal networks of friends. You are a stealth leader. You don't demand the spotlight, you shape the room from the inside. Your shadow is your identity. Because you are so good at seeing everyone else's perspective, picking a definitive path for yourself can feel impossible. But remember this, when the world shifts and chaos hits, you adapt faster than anyone else. You were raised inside the chaos. What happens when a child is born 6, 8, or 10 years after the others? You become the bonus baby. Most children get 2 parents. You got 4, or 5, or 6. You landed in an environment that evolution spent millennia perfecting, cooperative breeding. Your older siblings had already mapped the emotional landmines. Your parents had already made their mistakes and calmed down. You received the answers to the test without having to take it. Because you were constantly surrounded by people older, louder, and more experienced, you developed social fluency at a rapid pace. The downside is feeling like you belong to a different generation. People may treat you like a child even when you're fully grown, but you hold your own. You have a head start in understanding human nature that most people never realize they missed. Finally, the last born. By the time you arrived, the rule book had been thrown out. The panic of raising the first child was gone. In the ancient tribe, the oldest maintained order, and the middle kept the peace. But what happens when the old ways stop working? The group needed someone willing to take a risk, someone with the least to lose. That was you. Research shows lastborns dominate creative fields and entrepreneurship. You challenge the existing systems. Because you couldn't overpower your older siblings with strength, you learned a far more dangerous tool, charm. You learned to influence. You learned to make people want to say yes. Your battle in life is discipline. Building internal structure takes deliberate work because no one forced it upon you. But the world runs on the ability to connect and take risks when others freeze. You were built exactly for that. Your birth order gave you a role. It handed you a set of tools to survive your childhood. But you are no longer a child, and you are no longer just surviving. The patterns running inside your mind right now, the need to control, the desire to please, the fear of missing out, they were given to you, but they do not own you. The only difference between someone who is trapped by their past and someone who commands their future is awareness. Look at the tools you were given. Name the patterns that are quietly holding you back. Keep the strengths, discard the rest. Choose who you become next. If this video helped you understand a piece of yourself, leave a comment below. Tell me your birth order and what your greatest strength is. Subscribe and share this video with your siblings. Let's keep growing together. See you in the next one.